Hello everyone, it's so good to be here yet again. It seems like every week is an interesting for new films in 2024. In any case, the latest interest in cinemas to check out is of course MaXXXine. This is the third part of this slasher horror mixed in with this porno thematic trilogy. It started off with X, which was happening in 1979 if memory serves me well, and then we were blessed with a prequel, Pearl, which was happening in 1918. And there's a very interesting dynamic between those two films of having this meta-narrative integrated into the storyline, if you will. I don't want to go into too much detail, but as brief as spoiler as possible, Mia Goth was playing not only the protagonist in X, but also the psycho grandma serial killer. So it was an interesting dynamic seeing her play both these characters and then revisit that character in her origin story. But now MaXXXine is happening in 1985, and we are continuing the story where it left off after X. And though I was surprised by X and specifically Pearl, I do think that is the strongest of the three. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little let down by MaXXXine, but I'm not saying it's a bad film. I totally recommend you to check it out if you were a fan of the previous two films. I do think if you haven't seen the previous two, you're gonna be totally lost at sea, so keep that in mind. But even if I don't think it's as strong as the previous ones, there's still plenty to praise it for. Number one, it's just a lot of fun to go through, and number two, I absolutely love the art direction of the film. It's got so much style and personality. So in that regard, MaXXXine is a success. And yes, of course, it is fun to have all the 80s needle drops, all those aesthetics that are key to that time period, and of course the star-studded cast, which is quite large and varied. But by that same token, I do find that as exciting as it is seeing all these different actors, all their performances are rather shallow. Some of them so brief, I barely even felt their presence or remember them after having exited the cinema. Perhaps Kevin Bacon is the one who has most meat on the bones, and it admittedly was a lot of fun seeing him in this role, but I still found his character to be very predictable and this very archetypal image of characters we've seen in the past. Mia Goth, of course, returns, and she definitely is a star of the show. She has the real ball-busting energy in this film specifically. After all the shit she went through in X, she's taking shit from nobody in this film. I'll just leave it at that. But as far as her performance goes, of course, she is the highlight, that she brings plenty of charisma and memorable moments to the screen. But I guess I just find that the overall plot of the film to be rather mundane and predictable. The most interesting aspect of the film, as far as the story goes, is pretty much the same as it was back in X and Pearl, that having this meta connection between these three films. But I do find that the way this film specifically explores it is less compelling in comparison to the previous two. Part of that reason for me feeling this way is because at this point, maybe it's a little old hat. We've already been exposed to this idea, and I don't find that it particularly revisits these ideas in a very novel way. So as unfortunate as it may be that it's not quite the highlight like Pearl was, it's by no means a terrible film. Once again, there's a lot of artistry and charisma on screen that's a lot of fun to experience, but overall I do find that it lacks a little bit of substance. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give this film a 6 out of 10. Once again, totally worth checking out. If you're already a fan of the previous two, you'll probably go check it out anyways, and in that sense it is still a lot of fun, and I don't regret having seen it, but there it is. So with all that being said, wishing you and your loved ones nothing but the best. Take care and talk to you soon.